The John McAfee interview.
Interested in Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is a very vague concept to a lot of people.
Need to know more about cryptocurrency?
We're going to talk about the basics. This is something that people just have no idea about what crypto is.
How about buying, selling, and mining?
Tony, I think that's one of the things that's going to make us a little different from some other shows.
We're getting our hands dirty.
Then listen to Gary Leland and Tony Sakala, better known as the Crypto Cousins, on the Crypto Cousins podcast.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the show. Gary Leland here.
And this is Tony Sakala.
Tony, things are going crazy. Bitcoin.
This week's price.
$18,080, up $904 since last week, up 5.2%. And actually, that's down for the last day or two.
Yes, it is down for the last day or two. There's been a little settling out of Bitcoin price. And I think the big story are the altcoins. The altcoins have gone just through the roof. There's no other way of putting it. People are realizing that there are altcoins, and they're getting into Coinbase and gobbling up Etherium and Litecoin. They're figuring out there are other opportunities here, and Coinbase is struggling to keep up with the traffic, struggling to keep up with everything. Expanding is not an easy task. As Charlie Lee said, you just can't throw money at scaling. It's a tough problem to scale up an operation like that.
Well, speaking of altcoins, let's go. Ethereum, $850, up $270 for the week, or 46.5%. Litecoin, let's see what Litecoin's doing for the week. Litecoin for the week, $348.79, actually down $7 or 2.3%. What else we got here? Zcash, which we love. That's what we've been mining, is Zcash, Tony. And this one I'm loving. Today, Zcash is $573, up $225 for the week, which turns out to be 64.6%. Maybe one of the big winners of the week, actually.
Well, we'll see why Zcash is so popular. I believe that John McAfee likes all of these coins in the Zcash family, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, the mining machines Tony and I make, and we build, and we actually sell, are set up mostly. We've been mining Zcash with us, and I think the people we've sold our machines to have been also mining Zcash. So I think everybody should be pretty happy, Tony, with that.
Yeah, quite happy. As if they bought it with the idea that they're going to mine a half of a Zcash coin, which is a ZEC, half of a ZEC every month. Well, they had some idea that maybe they were going to, maybe $150 or so. Now, half of today's price is a lot more than $150. So they're just tickled. They're tickled pink. This is what happens in crypto. You can't plan for the future in a linear way. You have to think logarithmically. You have to think exponentially. And exponential thinking is not something that the human mind really knows how to do. Doubling. It's hard for the mind to comprehend that prices will double repeatedly. And that's what's happening.
It's good talking about mining, since we have John McAfee interviewed today on the show, and he's one of the biggest miners outside of China. So that's good to know. Also, if anyone wants to see our mining equipment that we offer, we have 2 machines on now, and we're getting ready to offer. You're getting ready to add a third one, right? Am I right, Tony?
We're designing a third one where it's so big that we're looking to work within the power constraints of the modern home. 20 amps is an average circuit breaker, and we want to make sure these machines are as big and as powerful as it can be, but we want to make sure it just runs in the average home.
That they're not having to bring in power lines or put it in their washer room and use their dryer.
Use their 240 volt. Yeah, I'm sure in the future people are going to unplug their dryer and say, okay, fine, we'll just put a rack of miners here in the dryer room. That's fine. It's more exciting.
And we can't dry our clothes because we're losing too much money unplugging the
Exactly. Don't unplug the miners.
But ours don't do that. Ours plug into the regular electric plug. I want to make sure you understand. But if you want to see those, go to cryptocousins.com, go to the store tab, and go to the miners section, and you'll be able to see that. And also want to make sure everybody knows that about the conference that we're going to be at in February, the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference 2018. That's going to be in Dallas in February, Tony?
February, yes. It's February 16th, 17th, and 18th.
And if you want to find out more about that, go to cryptocousins.com/super. Made a little short link there for you. So all you got to remember, super, and the name of our show, basically, cryptocousins.com/super. So, yeah, we're going to have an interview with him next week, Richard Jacobs, who is putting that conference on. And speaking of John McAfee, another tie in there. He's one of the key speakers at that conference.
Yes, he's one of the keynotes. And they have a great lineup. Just an amazing lineup. Richard's done an amazing job.
And also they have Charlie Shrem, who we're getting ready to interview any day now. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. That's going to be a great conference. And we're going to be there, Tony and I. They gave us a little area to set up our cameras, so you'll be able to see the Crypto Cousins, Tony and Gary, actually interviewing people, come over and say hi and talk to us. Also wanted to make sure everybody knows that our disclaimer, we're going to talk about stuff, but we're not recommending anything. We're not financial people. We're not consultants. This is Gary and Tony doing a show. And Tony, we really started kind of doing this show to get people on here like we've been doing and educate ourselves and then share that education with listeners.
And we're learning continuously. I mean, we're not experts. We're learning every day. And I think that the average person who's just getting into Bitcoin can really relate to us. It's like we do still feel confused at times because the field is growing so rapidly and the concepts are growing so rapidly. So yeah, we're here for the noobs. We're here for the first timers, and we hope to share as much knowledge without jargon. I know I get jargony now and then. Gary pulls me back to earth. What do you mean, Tony? What do you mean?
Well, I think this is a good way. This is a great way. This is how I like to learn stuff, is by actually talking to experts, which we definitely have one on today. But I think it's a lot of people are getting stuff out of this from the comments I'm getting and things like that. Tony, you know what it's time for now, though, because we're going to try to go with a little bit quicker mode than normal.
It's time for Crypto Cousins News.
Okay, Tony, time for the news. You go first. And maybe it's not even the news, it's whatever article, whatever we want to talk about. So what do we got here today, Tony?
Well, there's this idea that the Nakamoto Institute published back in 2014. Daniel Krawitz published an article called Hyper-Bitcoinization. And I heard the term, and I looked a little deeper into it, like, what is Hyper-Bitcoinization? And at first I thought it was about the price. The price would just reach a certain peak. But it goes a little deeper than that. If you think about Venezuela and you think about other countries that have had hyperinflation, the hyperinflation is this artificial change in the price of your currency, the value of your currency by the government. And it's a transition point from Bitcoinization is defined by Daniel as a voluntary transition from an inferior currency to a superior one. And its adoption is a series of individual acts of entrepreneurship rather than a single monopolist that games the system. So he outlines what's the difference between hyperinflation, hyper-Bitcoinization, and we're seeing it now. I see it because you and I are out on the horizon. We're out there at the edges, and the people who are a little crazy are starting to recognize that fiat currency, the dollar, doesn't have the power it used to have. And so they're moving out of it, and they're moving into Bitcoin as a day-to-day store of value. And when that happens on a rapid pace, we're going to see some amazing changes in this country.
So does it say when that's going to happen? And I haven't read this yet, and I'll put the link on the show notes at cryptocousins.com. Does it say anything about like when we're going to really start seeing this big movement?
No. He just outlines that is a concept and that it can occur and doesn't give a timeline.
And that's called hyper-Bitcoinization. Well, we'll put the link to that on the show notes. And that sounds like a pretty interesting concept there. What is the Nakamoto Institute?
People who are early adopters or early evangelists in the Bitcoin space founded the Nakamoto Institute, and basically to study Bitcoin and its influence on the world. So they write and they think about Bitcoin and write about it and help to educate people.
So do you think they're all sitting on a bunch of Bitcoin?
Nah, well,
They've probably been in it a while.
It's like Fight Club. You can talk about Bitcoin, don't talk about your Bitcoins.
Never talk about Fight Club, never talk about Fight Club, never talk about Fight Club.
Exactly.
That's a pretty good point there. Okay. Well, my news is not news. My news is a concept. People ask me all the time, the number one question I get asked, spending Bitcoin, yeah, where's this magical internet money? How do you spend it? Or do you just hold it forever? So I was watching TV. I like to watch TV. And it was a show on Bitcoin, on an early adopter of Bitcoin that lived just off of Bitcoin. He got paid by Bitcoin where he worked because he worked for a Bitcoin company. Everything he did was Bitcoin. That's the only money he had. And they were going through a grocery store with him. What are these grocery stores that we go to these meetups at, these markets?
You got the Whole Foods Market?
Yeah, Whole Foods Market. He was shopping at Whole Foods Market and he had a whole cart full of stuff. And he went to the checkout counter and there was a film crew following him, and the girl doing the interview. And he got to the counter. She goes, well, how are you going to pay for this with Bitcoin? They don't accept Bitcoin at Whole Foods Market. And he pulled up the app on his phone or went to the website at gyft.com. Have you ever heard of this?
I haven't.
Well, he pulled up this app. They accept Bitcoin. And it's a gift card company. So he bought a gift card on the spot for like $162.18 for Whole Food Markets. Bought the gift card and paid for his groceries with the gift card.
That is so cool. So he just converted his Bitcoin into this card, and then they, of course, take the card.
Yeah, and they accepted had a QR code on it, I guess, and they accepted his gift card. And they have Lowe's on there, they have Home Depot on there, they have Amazon.com on there. They have everybody just about.
So it's a hack. So basically, you need to learn a hack to spend Bitcoin at this point, and that's really smart.
Well, it's kind of like, though, you hear a lot of comparisons now that now for cryptocurrency is like 1995 was for the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when the Netscape browser came out, but it must be pretty similar to that time, because it was really hard to get on the internet and do stuff. Then that Netscape browser came out and everything went wild. So I think this is like pre-Netscape browser now. We're kind of like still talking about, and everybody still, whether they think they're early or not, are still early adopters. Mm-hmm. Just like those people in 95 and 94 were early adopters of the internet. Then the Netscape browser came out, and everybody was on the internet. And then that's where we're at, I think, right now. So the gift.com, gyft.com, gift cards is a way to spend your Bitcoin if anyone is spending it. I mean, since most people hodl it, I don't know, unless you're getting paid for a living Bitcoins every week, most people hodl their Bitcoins. But that is a way to get rid of them if someone asks you that question.
Fantastic. I'll let them know.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Or they could spend it with us, Gary, because we are taking crypto for our miners.
We are, and we're also taking crypto for donations. If you want to support the show, what we're doing, I said a little bit about that a few minutes ago with cryptocousins.com/Coinbase. But if you want to go to cryptocousins.com/donate, you can see how you become a patron of the show. You can see how you can pay us donate with crypto. If we can get enough coming in, it costs to do these shows. It not only takes our time, we spend time researching stuff. We have to pay to have the show edited. Mm-hmm. We have to pay hosting fees. We'd like to do this show 2 or 3 times a week, to be honest with you, but it's kind of hard to, when we're not bringing any money in from the show. We've got a few people supporting us on Patreon, but we'd like to, if you like what we're doing and you want to help us out, I'm sorry I say this week after week, but we want to grow this thing, and we're hoping you feel that way too. Check out cryptocousins.com/donate and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we've been growing our base now of Patreon supporters pretty regularly, and we really appreciate each and every person. I think it's a great sign that someone will sign up for a monthly ongoing donation at Patreon and give $1 or $10 or what's our highest now, Gary? $100 a month?
100 a month is what we don't have anyone giving us 100 a month. So don't misconceive what he's saying there, but you can pay and donate up to 100 a month if you like.
We have this category.
Yeah, we
It's
have
there.
that category.
Yeah,
Someone
we're
really is feeling if we got a Bitcoin whale on here. But I think our show really isn't for the Bitcoin whales, people who have a ton of Bitcoin. It's for the newbies. So I don't know how many Bitcoin whales there are on here wanting to do that. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Cousin Ken. Cousin Ken is one of our strongest moderators on the Facebook group. And he has started a Reddit page and has been taking that on single-handedly. So if we have any Reddit users, just go to cryptocousins.com/Reddit. And you can find our Reddit page, and he's doing a great job over there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Reddit is the homepage of the internet, so I'm glad we're on it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ken, for doing that. And also, I want to welcome Cousin Brian Chandler. Brian is from in the U.S., and he wanted to get involved. And Tony, I said, you know what? We got the Facebook group, which is growing like crazy. I mean, that thing is active. Everybody's helpful in there. It's a great Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, you need to join that group. But the page has been kind of like a stepchild. I mean, I haven't been putting stuff on there. I don't think you've been putting stuff on there. People are joining, but they're not getting any new content. So Cousin Brian said that he would take over the Facebook page, which he has. He's been putting all the content that we've put on the group. He's adding like the videos we make and the podcast. He's adding all that to the page. So I want to welcome Cousin Brian and say thanks.
Thank you, Brian. It's great to have cousins.
It's great to have cousins. And one more thing I want to tell you about is I started a Telegram page, cryptocousins.com/Telegram. I hear people talking about it all the time. I know a few people who don't even make groups. They go make Telegram pages. So I made that page, like I said, cryptocousins.com/Telegram. We probably need a couple moderators there. So if we have any big Telegram users in the group, email us and let us know. And yes, because we're going to need some help there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was introduced to Telegram by Bitcoin users. They're like, get in our Telegram, so it's basically like Facebook Messenger. It's an app where people, chat back and forth. So we've got this channel or whatever it's called in Telegram, and people can message us. And now we love getting messages. We get more messages than ever in this industry than we've ever done in anything we've done, right, Gary? How many podcasts have you done, all told? And
I've done over 1,000 probably episodes. I mean,
Wow.
I've probably done 10, 15 different podcasts. I mean, one of my podcasts has over 500 episodes. I mean, I've been doing this since 2004, so I've been doing this for a while. I've never had the kind of growth at this rate and the kind of back and forth conversations and messages and interaction, I guess is the word I'm looking for, as I have with this group. This podcast, the whole Crypto Cousin thing. I think it's more than just a show. I think it's a family. I think it's a lot of people that are working together. I noticed that in the Facebook group. Someone asks a question as a newbie, there's 4 people in there helping them, answering their questions. So no one feels like an idiot when they ask a question there.
Oh, yeah. You go online sometimes and it's like, I ask a question and they go, did you search first? Did you search the database for the question? And I'm like, dude, he asked the question. Why don't you help him? It's like, come on. Don't shame people when they're trying to learn.
Or that was answered last month if you scroll through the...
yeah, come on, guy. Exactly.
Don't you have 10 minutes to scroll through all these?
Don't waste my time is what you're saying. It's like, that's not how to be. That's not, you don't treat family like that.
Yeah. That's what we are here. That's what we are here. Hey, we got a question here, an email question. We try to answer 1 or 2 of these. We're going to have a show soon. Nothing but questions. So send in your questions, and if your question hasn't been asked, it probably will be on that show because we're going to do so many. But this is from, I know I'm going to get this name wrong, but I'm going for it. Trevor Dieck. That's what I'm going with, Dieck.
Trevor.
And Cousin Trevor. And his question is, hey, guys, I've listened to all your podcasts from here in China. That's cool, from China. Love listening to you guys. My question is John McAfee holding? If not, why not? Well, I'm going to answer that question because you'll find out later in the show. That's the answer to that part of the question because we asked him your question, Trevor. And here's the second part of his question, which I'll let you address, Tony. Is it a possibility that miners are just talking up this currency to get idiots like us to buy high, and then the bubble will burst? That's the second part of Cousin Trevor's question. What do you think of that, Tony? Give us an answer there.
Well, I think the bottom line is that no one wants to see the bubble burst. because there isn't a bubble. This is a technology transfer. Bitcoin is an internet protocol for money. It's a ledger of money that globally can determine whether person A or person B has certain assets. And because it's global, it is not subject to government intervention. It's not subject to being confiscated at the airport. It's not subject to the whims of a dictatorial regime. So an individual has sovereign power over their Bitcoin, over their cryptocurrency. And the world has never seen anything like it. And people are just getting their minds around the idea that this could be the new way of doing things. And of course, it's pushing back. We're getting a lot of pushback from the regulators, from people who feel like their job doesn't really matter anymore because their job was to regulate who can hold what currency and what they can do with that currency. And so this is here to stay. The Bitcoin protocol is published. Anyone can make a new cryptocurrency. This is not like some sort of thing that's patented or that's going to get gobbled up by a big company and buried. People say in the alternative energy field, if someone comes up with a great idea, the auto companies buy it, patent it, and put it back in the warehouse and hide it. I don't know about that. People have a lot of conspiracy theories about energy, but in this field, it's out there. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he was or they were, published this protocol. Or she was, exactly. Good call, Gary. He or she or they created this protocol, and now people can securely have assets globally without needing to be concerned about transporting money. You're not transporting it, you're using a global ledger. So it's not going back, it's not going down, it's not a bubble, and the miners stand to make money continuously. Through the year 2140, we'll still be mining Bitcoin. And after that, people will get paid to do transactions on the network. So it's got a long and illustrious future.
Well, there you go. And, I was watching, as I say, every week, I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of financial shows in particular. And the other day, the Winklevoss twins were on a show I was watching. And one of them, I don't know which one, I can't remember. I can't tell them apart. One of them said that gold is the old school. Bitcoin is the digital gold. So I like the way they describe that, though, digital gold. It's a store value like gold, but it's digital gold. So hey, let's go to this one. This one's a voice question. And if you want to leave a question on our voice line, go to 747-777-9471, 747-777-9471. As Tony says, you'll be luckier just for dialing all those sevens. But you can go there and leave a question, or if you just like the show, you can leave us a comment. Hey, you could hate the show and leave us a comment. We just probably won't play those. So, so let's listen to this month's voice question.
Hello, my name is Jeff. I just found your show just a few days ago, and I'm getting into crypto as fast and quickly as possible. Question for you. Why would somebody want to be in Bitcoin versus Litecoin when Litecoin seems it's like essentially is a clone of Bitcoin, but it transfers faster and the fees are much, much lower? Seeing on Reddit, some Bitcoin fees are as high as $30 now. Just wondering what your thoughts are. Thank you and goodbye.
Okay, Tony. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin, so it is. He's right that it's like a clone, because it is a fork, and the fees are much lower. So what are your thoughts?
Well, if you want to use Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis, the transfer fees are higher than Litecoin. There's no doubt about it. Litecoin is very valuable. I don't really have this notion of where I'm going to spend my crypto because, as you and I know, we're doing a lot of holding right now.
We're hodlers.
Yeah.
We admit it. We're hodlers.
we admit it. So
I think the thing is, Tony, you and I pretty much are investors not traders. I think you have two kinds of people in this world in crypto. You have people who buy crypto and hodl it because they're investing in it. Then you have people who buy crypto and they get in exchanges and they change Bitcoin for Litecoin and Litecoin for Ethereum, trying to make money on the ups and downs, which I'm not smart enough to do. So I just am an investor. I'm not smart enough and I don't have the time. So I'm an investor, but I think that's our deal.
Exactly. Well, and we don't really play favorites with the altcoins because every altcoin has a different story. And Charlie Lee is brilliant. He invented Litecoin. He was, up until recently, this chief technical officer at Coinbase. And he really knows what he's doing. So it's a well-designed coin. It was the first coin to use SegWit, which enabled transactions to be less. Bitcoin moved to SegWit as well. And it's now they're working on doing what's called atomic swaps, so that you can take your Bitcoin and swap it with Litecoin on something called the Lightning Network. And so all these things, there's a lot of buzzwords out there. There's a lot of new technology out there. The new person just getting their mind around crypto doesn't need to really learn and understand the new protocols, because soon they'll be in wallets and they'll be able to just transfer money and not think about the underlying fees. That's what it's about. It's about just using the crypto in a simple and easy fashion. And I'll admit, we're not there yet. We are still in this early adopter phase. We're pre-early adopter. So if it seems frustrating, if it seems confusing, that's okay, because that's where we're at. We're in this hyper learning stage. We're not in the implementation stage. We're still learning. We're still figuring things out. And being comfortable with that uncertainty is what's going to propel your success.
Okay, there you go. And thanks, Jeff, for sending in your question. Like I said, we'd like to get more voice questions at 747-777-9471. Well, Tony, I think that, we originally started on trying to keep these shows at about 30 minutes. We haven't done a very good job on that ever. I mean, ever. We've never been able to do that. And now we're at probably 25 minutes, and we still have the interview to go. So we aren't going to do it again today, but maybe we should go to the interview and get on with that with John. You want to give us a little bio real quick on John, a little background?
Yeah, I mean, people who recognize John McAfee, his name is mostly know him because he founded a company called McAfee Associates, and he is the person who invented the antivirus paradigm. So to go out and protect computers, he was able to create these signatures that looked for patterns of how software would try to infect other software. And it was a big success. And now he's on a new industry, cryptocurrency, and he understands the importance of security for cryptocurrency. And he's out telling people how to secure their wallets, how to secure their Bitcoin, and he understands the dangers, and he does a lot of preaching on the insecurities out there on the internet. His new company, MGT Capital Investments, is growing the largest Bitcoin mining business in the U.S. He's working with Jihan Wu, who is the largest miner on the planet. And we're excited to talk to John and see if he can divulge any secrets about his new mining operations.
Well, I didn't know that Jihan Wu was the largest miner on the planet.
Yes. His company builds the ant miners, so they're not only the largest mining, but they are almost the entire, they build all of the Bitcoin mining machines that are used all over the world. So they're almost without competition at the highest levels of Bitcoin mining.
Well, I guess the only miners that are really giving them a run for their money are us, huh?
Oh, with our little Ethan machines.
Well, let's go to the interview, everybody. We'll be back right after. John, I appreciate you coming on the show. I want to get right to it. I don't want to waste any time.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
You made a statement that Bitcoin would reach $1 million by the year 2020. Can you tell us how you came up with that?
I initially said $500,000 by the end of 2020, but I upped that because Bitcoin is going to close out this year at probably 20,000 and way ahead of my projections. So it's going much faster than my math predicted.
So, John, do you think that what do you attribute to the acceleration in this growth in the price in the recent weeks?
Well, I mean, everybody wants to attribute it to traders and investors, but that's totally false. You know, I run one of the largest mines outside of China, and I get to see what's actually happening. So it's due to the fact that people are still using Bitcoin as a currency. If you're on the dark web, Bitcoin is not used much more anymore. It's all Monero. But on the dark web, it was all Bitcoin for a while, and then replaced by Monero because of privacy issues, obviously. But then it migrated into the world. Now you find vendors of all kinds of products, not just illegal tigers from Tibet or drugs or hitmen or whatever. Vendors of shirts and T-shirts and shoes and belts and what have you, only accepting Bitcoins. They won't accept anything else.
So
now,
it's the utility.
You might ask, what is the reason for that? Well, it's pretty darn obvious. If you're accepting a cryptocurrency, nobody can see what you're making or what you're doing with your money. Now, maybe it's illegal not to file taxes, although I don't think it's illegal not to file. It's illegal to file and file fraudulently, okay? Nevertheless, so there are obvious reasons. I mean, plus ease of payment, both for yourself and for your customer. International payments, big deal. You don't have to worry about international wire transfers. The Bitcoin is the same in America as it is in England or in Afghanistan or Fiji. So as more and more vendors start to only accept Bitcoins, people are going to be forced into using their Bitcoins as currency if you want something that vendor is selling. So as I see it, it is primarily this rise in vendors accepting Bitcoin and the rise in vendors only accepting Bitcoins.
I see. What about the mad crush at Coinbase? Do you feel like the average mom and pop are starting to make a run on the bank, so to speak, to jump into crypto?
You know, don't mention exchanges to me because I think they're the greatest scams in the world. First of all, your money will eventually be lost because they're going to get hacked. If you're a hacker, are you going to search out somebody's private wallet on their smartphone and have to get 1 million of them? Or are you going to go to Coinbase and hack them? And I don't care how secure they say they are not. I also happen to be one of the world's leading cybersecurity specialists. And I'm telling you, all the exchanges are hackable. So I advise people, if you want to buy something and you have to buy it from an exchange, take it immediately and put it back in your own wallet and forget the exchange. This nonsense of keeping your money in the exchange because it's convenient to convert from one currency to another and so on, you will lose your money. Guaranteed, positively.
Oh, I believe you.
Do you prefer any certain type of wallets over others when we're saying put it in wallets?
Well, I use hardware wallets, and they're all pretty good. I mean, there's the Ledger Nano, there's the Trezor. Any hardware wallet is going to be good, provided it does not put the seed keys on your phone or your computer or on the device that you're setting it up with, because that's nonsense. Might as well have a software wallet.
Right. You know, with Bitcoin taking longer and longer for transactions to progress and getting more expensive, what do you think of Bitcoin Cash and the fact that Roger Ver says it's the new Bitcoin? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, you know, actually, Bitcoin Cash was the brainchild of Jihan Wu. Roger and Jihan are close friends. Roger and Jihan and I are close friends. Jihan is one of the smartest men that I know. He came up with Bitcoin Cash to solve the problem of the 1 megabyte block size, which is killing everybody. And SegWit is no answer. It's a nightmare solution that only gets you halfway there with no idea how to get you further. So Bitcoin Cash was an instant solution. I mean, the transaction times are measured in seconds. It is Bitcoin, and it's actually more Bitcoin than the classic Bitcoin because Bitcoin Cash adheres absolutely to Satoshi's white paper, whereas Bitcoin no longer does. So, but who cares? I mean, pop one, pop the other. People are starting to mine Bitcoin Cash now. You may have noticed it went up 50% in the past 24 hours. Why? People are starting to mine it because it's more profitable than mining Bitcoin. How long will that last? I have no clue. I do not have a crystal ball about which one will end up being the largest or the most acceptable. But Bitcoin Classic is so easy to predict simply because there are so many users that I made the prediction on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin will, no matter what happens with Bitcoin Cash, even if Bitcoin Cash surpasses Bitcoin in number of users. Good.
So, John, can you talk a little about your mining operation? We hear about it, but I haven't heard a lot of details.
Well, quite frankly, I'm not going to give you a lot of details. Mining is probably it's the most competitive business on this planet. So the where, the how, the whys, whether we have multiple facilities that we limit at 5 kilowatts, whether we have them all in one huge warehouse, what type of air conditioning we use. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you those things. Those are the secret ingredients that make us the most profitable Bitcoin miner on the planet, even more so than Jihan Wu. And he and I argue that point constantly, okay? Now, Jihan Wu, by the way, is the founder and owner of Bitmain. Currently, the only real ASIC machine you can use to mine Bitcoin.
It makes sense that basically it's a zero-sum game. If someone gets the Bitcoins,
it's a zero-sum game, no question.
One of the things I've heard you say is that you sell all your Bitcoin as you mine it. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And so if you think it's going to go up in such big numbers, why are you selling it so quickly or not keeping maybe half of it?
There's two reasons. Number one, legal. We are a mining company. We produce Bitcoins. We are not an investment firm that takes risk with our stockholders' money. But more importantly, if we sell them immediately and put that immediately back into machines, I make 4 times as much as if Bitcoin goes to $1 million in 2020. So run the numbers. That's why all miners do that.
That was something I didn't know. That's a good answer.
I mean, all big miners sell immediately.
And put it right back into equipment?
Put it back into equipment. That's what we're in business for, to grow.
I hear all the time on every article by every news person, let's say for your regular lame time news, is Bitcoin is a bubble. How many times a day do I hear that? Would you address that fact for people who are new and getting into Bitcoin?
Oh, absolutely, because a bubble is an unwarranted growth in something, a security, a stock. Unwarranted meaning there's nothing that backs it up. Bitcoin doesn't grow by people saying, hey, I think it's a good investment, even though that's what the investors think. Bitcoin grows by the number of people who adopt Bitcoin as a currency and begin to use it. That's what causes this massive growth, because if you're buying stuff with Bitcoins, then you need Bitcoins. So you've got all these people needing Bitcoin so that they can buy the whatever illegal drugs, monkeys from Thailand that you're not supposed to be able to get, whatever. You can't buy them any other way. I mean, I'm sorry, but the dark web alone would keep Bitcoin growing at this rate for 10 years. But it's leaked out of the dark web into the real world. And so, good Lord, how can you possibly have a bubble when the number of users is expanding and they all have to buy them in order to spend them? So please God, it's a simple math formula. Anybody can add 1 and 1, can reach the same conclusion.
So how about on the fact, what do you think blockchain and Bitcoin are going to do to the banking system as we know it today over the next few years?
Banks will disappear within 5 years, I promise you. Because Do you realize that every wallet, whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, Bitcoin Cash, it doesn't matter. Every wallet is a bank. That wallet is capable of doing everything a bank can do. You want to send an international wire? You bet. I pop in my wallet. I send that wallet address, or I get the other person's wallet address in Afghanistan, and in 20 minutes he has the money. So not only do we have that capability, we can do it 10 times faster. So the wallet is a bank. And when banks start understanding cryptocurrencies and seeing, oh my God, because we're also now developing wallets that are distributed exchanges. So the equivalent of, I came back from England, I've got all these British pounds. I'm going to go to the bank and trade them for US dollars. Very tedious affair. Got to carry the cash in there, stand in line. No, your wallet. So you've got Bitcoins, okay, but you need Monero. You say convert Bitcoin to Monero, and in 10 seconds, it's done. So please, how can banks compete with that? Everything that banks do, wallets do, why will banks exist in 5 years? I don't have a clue, because everybody on the planet will have some type of cryptocurrency and some type of crypto wallet. That's my prediction.
So there's no need for them, is what you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah, well, not just no need. It's like I'm driving a car and you're trying to sell me a first-class buggy whip. Well, I'm sorry, dude. Nobody uses buggies anymore. Okay.
But I bet that last guy who made buggy whips made a hell of a buggy whip.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I mean, think about it. Okay.
So how about taxation as far as governments? I'm not talking about the U.S. I'm talking about governments in general that use taxation to raise funds. It just seems to me like that's going to be a problem in the future for governments.
Well, I don't know. Well, let's look at, we could look at the legal requirements of human beings, in which case we would all report our income. Or we could look at the reality of human nature. And you would go, you know what? If I don't report anything, they're not going to know. So maybe I won't. How many people are going to choose option 2 over option 1? I think 99% of humanity. If that is the case, then governments are going to have to find some other means of raising revenue. Now, this is not a new problem. Our country started out on payment by use. You want to take the road from Washington to Richmond, you pay a little toll. You want to visit a park. We have, in many federal parks, we have to pay something. Well, no. From now on, you're going to have to pay something substantial. Let's say you want to go to Yosemite, $50 to get in instead of $5. Governments will figure it out. But I promise you, revenue through taxing income will simply disappear because it cannot possibly be enforced. And if you cannot enforce a law, people will ignore it. That has been proven throughout history.
So, John, you're saying that governments are going to become more libertarian. They're going to take a market-based approach and just start charging for things that actually provide value, like going to Yosemite.
They're going to have to do something, or they're going to have to, become armed robbers and rob little old ladies at midnight on the streets or something, because, they're not going to be able to do it through taxing income. End of story.
Fascinating. Do you have a topic you want to talk about, John, on the last question?
Yeah. Good Lord Almighty. Okay, here's what I would like to talk about is ICOs. I was a keynote speaker at BitCan, which was supposed to happen in Beijing on September the 19th. 1 week before, China declared ICOs illegal and shut down every cryptocurrency exchange. Now, even talking or promoting an illegal act in China, they're going to jail you. So what happened is BitCan took the conference in 1 week from Beijing to Hong Kong. Every single keynote speaker who signed up for the original conference changed their flight plans, their itineraries, and all showed up in Hong Kong, including me. And it was a very, very beautiful affair. I abandoned my original speech and just talked about, please do you see, we are refugees from the old world, which we are. And it's going to happen more and more. So ICOs, China banned ICOs, and quite right, because China had no laws governing them. People mostly from the U.S. and Canada were going over and promising people 200% returns per week, and things which you just can't promise people because you did not have a clue. And everybody was getting ripped off, and these people would do their ICOs and then go buy a yacht and sail the Caribbean for the next 10 years. So it was not working. China did it right. However, you cannot ban all ICOs because 1 out of 50 are truly brilliant, life-changing, life-supporting, and will create a better world. So right now, with no regulation, it's up to the buyer. I mean, caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. If you buy an ICO coin at 15 cents and it immediately sinks to 1/1,000,000th of a penny, well, I'm sorry, that's your fault. I mean, you have to be an adult. You have to take responsibility. And it is not easy. It is not easy. I've read probably half of all of the couple of thousand ICO white papers that have come out. And honest to God, sometimes I wanted to vomit at the absolute scam nature of what these people were doing. But I did it because 1 out of 30 or 1 out of 40 turn out to be gems of absolute beauty. So, and I'm not going to tell you which ones. I'm not going to recommend anything. That's not my job. But you dig into it. So if an ICO comes out and there's all this hype and this is a great coin, don't believe anybody but yourself. Grab the white paper, read it. If you don't understand it, don't invest. If you're unwilling to read it, don't buy ICOs. This is my advice. And that was my question.
Well, I want to make sure, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show here. We want to make you an honorary cousin John of the Crypto Cousin Show. And,
all right.
And we're going to be I believe you're going to, in February, be at the Super Bitcoin Ethereum Conference in Dallas. They have you headlining at least ways, and we're going to be there. So
I don't know, but when people only tell things a week before they happen, my mind gets overexcited and overburdened. So probably I am, if you read it.
Well, I hope we get to meet you there in person.
I do too. And by the way, let me do a shameless promotion here. The McAfee Coin, it's McAfeeCoin.com, is coming out the first of the year, probably in February. I'm hoping it is not a scam. I have done everything within my power to make this coin the most unique coin anyone has seen. And it's designed to help not you necessarily, but your children and your children and their children.
Where will people be able to get that at, John?
Just go to McAfeeCoin.com and it'll tell you all about it. And that's it's not out yet. We're doing the ICO early next year.
Okay.
What it is I've teamed up with the largest investment fund in China, $40 billion, and they're going to tokenize all their money. And instead of having their 200 analysts read all of these garbage things and then try to decide what to invest in, you get to decide. Would you rather have a tomato that rolls down a conveyor belt without bruising, probably tasting nothing like a tomato, or would you rather have renewable energy or a possible cure for cancer? Yes, you now get to decide. You get to vote, not some analyst who bases it purely on how much money you will make, but on what this is going to do to the world, because the world we live in is confined, contained, and based upon the technologies that we create. The smartphone, the automobile, electricity, running hot water. These are the things that create our world, that bind us to it, that give us our comfort and our sense of belonging. So would you not rather have a voice in that? So that's what I've tried to create. Now, maybe someone will say it's a scam, because we can't do it. but we can and we will and we are. So there you are.
Fantastic.
Hey, that's okay. We'll put a link to that on the website on the page for you too, John, to make sure that everybody can get there easily. So in case they're driving, they'll know where to go and find the info.
Okay, and thank you very much for inviting me on your show. I've always enjoyed being on, and I hope you'll invite me again someday.
Hey, thanks for coming on, John.
Take care, John.
Bye-bye.
Well, Tony, that was a great interview. I love when John said, if you want to buy a monkey in China, you need to use Monero.
Yes. Well, there you go. Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies have always been fueled by this passion for people to buy whatever they want without people looking over their shoulders and judging them. So if you want to buy a monkey, go ahead, use cryptocurrency.
I guess you could use Zcash or Monero.
That's for starters. Yeah, the number of privacy coins that are out there are growing daily, and people are really interested in that concept.
Oh, that was a great interview. Lots of insight there. I have a guy at the Dona is his name at the 7-Eleven I go to. He put me on the VIP coffee club. I get free coffee at the 7-Eleven now. Thanks, Dona, for the fact that he can pick my brain anytime he wants to about crypto, which was pretty cool. And he's got some Bitcoin on Coinbase, and his wife wants him to leave it there, and he knows now, I think, from talking to me, he doesn't want to leave it there. He wants to put it in the wallet. So I hope that he listened to this episode when John said you need to get it off of Coinbase. Where are you going to hack? You're going to hack some guy's wallet or his one computer? Or are you going to go to Coinbase where there's billions of dollars? I mean, I don't know if there's billions, but there's a ton of money there. So I think that was a pretty good point there that he made, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, the conversations we have with people on a day-to-day basis are very, very revealing. People don't know where to get it. People don't know where to put it. People don't know how to spend it. We could answer these questions all day long. I think that this field is so exciting and so fascinating for people that we do hope that we get more donations, that we can begin to do a second show. I know that we have more material. We can't stay within our 30 minutes.
We could do a second show easily. We have enough people that want to come on the show that we just don't have the time it's hard to keep putting money into it when you're not really getting anything out of it. So this is about what we can do. We're getting enough out of it to make it worth we can learn. But we can do a lot of things. So, that's a great point, Tony. I'm sorry to jump in, but I want to do more of this stuff. So if people go to cryptocousins.com/donate, check that out. I can't say that enough. I know people may get tired of hearing it, but I can't say it enough. Tony, also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
Go ahead.
Oh, well, that you and I know it takes about 2 or 3 minutes per minute of podcasts to do the editing and get it up online to all the different places. I mean, how many different places have you got it on Alexa? You've got it on Spotify. I mean, there's so many places now where people can find us.
Yeah, you can listen, and we don't run commercials or anything really. So, the only commercials we run are asking people to help us out. I guess we can quit doing that and just try to find sponsors. But I think it's easier just to have the people contribute. But yeah, we're on Apple, Android, Spotify, iHeartRadio, blah, 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 YouTube, Reddit. But basically, if you want to find us anywhere, just go to cryptocousins.com/ wherever you want to go, and it'll probably take you to our page. That's our kind of short link method there. Cryptocousins.com/iTunes, cryptocousins.com/Android, cryptocousins.com/Spotify, cryptocousins.iHeartRadio, blah, 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 blah. So I think we had a great show today, Tony. Next week, we're going to have interview with Richard Jacobs from the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. We're going to go into detail what you can expect to find out at that conference, which we'll be at, and we gave them a little plug earlier. And they're not paying us for that plug, just to let people know. But that is an affiliate link. So if anyone does sign up with our affiliate link, cryptocousins.com/super, they save 10% on the conference, and we make a little something. I don't even know what we make, Tony.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know what we make, but he said he'd give us something.
Well, the important thing is that, I think they use that to track because they want to know where are people hearing. And so it's a great tracking code. And they do that to incentivize people to promote the show. So affiliate links are wonderful. They help everybody in the new media space. And we're very fortunate to have the conference be right in our backyard. It's right there at the airport hotel, and people are going to be able to just fly in and give their talk. I mean, people like John McAfee, they don't have time to go to some podunk city. They have to go to a big city like Dallas. So we're excited and hope that Richard's going to keep this conference in Dallas and not move it to some other podunk city.
And the thing is, we're going to be working probably most of the conference while we're there, instead of just sitting around attending sessions. So, the only problem I see, Tony, is we're going to get so much content, so many great interviews, and so much great content, but we're going to be coming out with, we're probably going to get a year's worth of content.
Oh, for sure.
And so we won't have to do any interviews with anyone for a year.
I think right.
Because every week, unless we start doing a second or third show, which, like I said, we just really can't afford to do that.
Well, we're getting help from all the cousins. I see this thing's growing so rapidly that we're going to see more real soon.
Well, I appreciate everybody that has been helping us. We've had so much help, and that's even better than money.
Thank you, cousins.
People.
Thank you, everyone.
The moderators on Facebook, Ken doing a Reddit page, our new moderator doing our Facebook page instead of our group, cousin Brian. So, that means a lot because, I know from having my kids doing stuff, when they were kids and we had to do stuff for them, there were a lot of people who could give $10, $20 or whatever for the event we were doing, but you really needed the parents to come out and help. So you needed people there. You couldn't be at everything by yourself, taking care of everything. So finding the time to help, like these cousins had on our stuff, and we've got cousins from India, China, from all over the world. So I appreciate everybody for the help. I want to make sure everybody knows that. I know we ask a lot for donations, and sorry if we overdo it, but I really do appreciate the time everybody's given us.
Yes, the time is super valuable. Gary and I, there's 24 hours in the day. We're sleeping. We're probably down to 3 hours of sleep a night. We just are so excited. We can't sleep. And so, there's only 24 hours in the day. So we are very grateful for all the help that we can get.
Yeah, because a lot of these things the Reddit page wouldn't be done. The Facebook page would have very little stuff on it. So, and the Telegram has nothing on it because we haven't had time to do it. We just only have we have to work. We both have full-time jobs, and we have to do that, or else we are going to have our crypto and our wallet out living in the van under the bridge down by the river.
Well, you have a full-time job, maybe. Yeah. Speak for yourself, Gary.
Well, that's true. Well, you seem to work as many hours as me on your gig, so don't be giving me all that.
No, I've been an independent guy for like 20 years now, and so we're still doing our other businesses, our other gigs, and we're doing this as fast as we possibly can. So thanks everyone for the support.
Thanks for the support. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. And please spread the word. That is the number one thing you can do is spread the word about the show and help us grow. And unless you have anything else, Tony, I'm going to say we're way over our time limit, and I'm going to say adios, muchachos.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to the Crypto Cousins podcast. Please share this podcast with anyone you know that is interested in cryptocurrency. Your friends can subscribe on iTunes at cryptocousins.com/iTunes and on Android at cryptocousins.com/play. If you want to know more about Tony or Gary, just go to tonysakala.com or garyleland.com. Make sure and join us on the next episode, and thanks for listening. The Crypto Cousins podcast and information in the podcast are not intended as investment advice. Cryptocurrencies are risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Always seek professional advice before making any investment. Investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies may present tremendous risks. Please understand that you are using any and all information available on or through the Crypto Cousins podcast at your own risk.